Hi everyone, and welcome to Like, Share, Follow this week. And do you realize it's actually episode 60? And this week for episode 60, I'm very honored to have Emma Tomlinson, who is a professional musician and independent singer, songwriter, artist at EBT Music. So welcome, Emma. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It's a pleasure. So I'm so glad that you decided to be my 60th guest.
I'm just aesthetically pleased I'm an even number. That's
amazing. Yeah. And look, I mean, we were discussing before when was the last time that you were at uni, and I felt a bit like a creeper because I said the last time I saw you, I was actually on the stage when you were graduating.
That's right.
And then I saw you, but you didn't really see me. But yeah. Because you were just focused on not, what I always do is not falling over. So
yeah, honestly, I mean, I was wearing 6-inch Bellini heels, and I don't know how I did it for 5 hours in them, but I did, and I was just like, okay, get the scroll, walk off, because you just see everyone in mask, and it was so bizarre because you didn't know who was who. You just see these eyes with like all these different colors following you, like, well done. Like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna. That's it.
It really was. That was the most surreal graduation I've ever been part of. It was like, I felt like, maybe like a few years ago, if I had have seen myself in that moment, I would have been going, what is going on here?
Yeah, like I even remember looking back at the video that they take of you professionally that you can download, and I was like, that is the weirdest, most interesting graduation I've ever seen. That is one to tell my grandchildren.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we wore masks at grad.
Yeah. Yeah, who knows? It might be a sign of things to come. The way things are going.
I know. Oh my goodness.
And now you graduated with a Bachelor of Creative Industries.
Correct.
Majoring in music.
I did major in music and drama, and they didn't include it, but I'm always going to say minor in social media as well.
Yay! And that's great. And so we're also discussing the music offering at USC. So and now, like next year, there's going to be a whole degree, a Bachelor of Music.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? Because you were one of the first students to actually do the music offering at USC.
I was the guinea pig of 2018 when Sean O'Boyle and Suzanne Compass first brought it in. And I actually had the privilege of working with them previously with Creative Generation State Schools on the stage back when I was 14 to 16 years old. And having that knowledge of like what they're like and what they're able to bring to music when it first started at USC was really exciting. But, since then it has just flourished into so many opportunities for so many students. So many of my, closest friends I've, connected with whilst being at uni as well. And this new degree that Andy Ward has brought on, who is the senior lecturer of music there, is just phenomenal. You learn so much in the degree that it gives you the best opportunities. And you're working with industry professionals as well, which is exciting. And it's off the basis of, how you look at, Griffith and UQ and their music program, and it's set to a contemporary standard, what's current and what's happening now for the future for, students and youth to be creating music for what the community, want to hear in future. And the best thing about it, you get to perform as well. So it's amazing. So I'm very excited. I won't be able to go into it next year. I wish I could. But honestly, it is probably the best thing I've seen, come into the university so far. So definitely recommend checking it out. If you're interested, definitely look to apply.
Yeah, excellent. And you mentioned too that you did social media. And what I love about this show is that all of the people on it have gone into different areas or have, are going into different professional areas. Some are working in the field of social media, but some use what they learned in other areas. So how have you found the knowledge that you gained in social media to help you with your music career?
Oh, honestly, it has been the greatest backbone to have, especially as a sole trading independent artist. I had a little bit of an understanding before I started social media, but having studied it for a whole year last year definitely gave me more of an insight in regards to, the kind of marketing I'm going to need to do if I'm going to, promote an EP, or if I'm going to promote a single, promote my next gig, or promote my merch, or promote a collaboration, or even promote, people I'm going to be working with. and, using tactics like understanding algorithms and understanding, how to create a campaign for a product or a campaign for an event that's going to be happening has been so credential and so important to, the kind of career I'm in, but not just my career, like any career in the creative industries or even outside of the creative industries, having that background of understanding, the different types of curating and curating and understanding, websites as well, because, social media do derive off websites and people always go to websites and look for social media contacts off there, as a business owner, and having those platforms available and understanding more about those platforms is and has been the best thing that I have learned from you guys, especially from you as well.
And like as an artist, I mean, clearly it's been quite a tumultuous time in terms of doing live performances. So
Yes.
how has social media helped you to, I guess, still build a following and interest in your music while it's been, it's been really hard to plan, hasn't it? Like
it has.
Live person performances.
Yeah, COVID honestly took such a massive toll ever since last year on, performing. I can't even count how many gigs I've lost and how much income, support I've lost through, COVID really taking advantage of, the amount of people allowed to gig or, the amount of performers that they are allowed to have at a venue or like festivals. And so having, say, for example, like TikTok, Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, having those platforms there has been so helpful in regards to still building a presence and still connecting with people. And ways I've found of doing that is by doing, live videos when I'm performing or like when I'm busking, whenever that is.
Yeah.
Because it's just been absolutely insane. And the other thing as well is to just, I've always been constantly making sure I have up-to-date content. And even though I'm not doing anything, it's so important to be current and up to date with what's trending now. And that's something I've really focused on. So I'm always, planning stuff behind the scenes, like, photography and outfits and merch and, really making a brand awareness, not only just for me, but for people I work with. And so when people see that, or like when audiences see that, they go, oh, that's really, really cool. She's worked with this person. I know that person. I'm going to connect with her and see what she's doing further. And I think having that awareness that, still be able to connect with audiences in a multitude of different avenues other than, always putting out that I'm performing live and just having some backup stuff that I've planned or planning otherwise, or even, looking at, promoting that you do another skill, which I've also, shown, oh yeah, look, I've done this, I've done that, I can do dancing or whatnot. It's that having that there has been, really, really helpful in regards to getting more people a part of my team.
Yeah. And so what has been some of the best sort of career advice you've been given, and has that advice helped you over the last 12 months when things have been so challenging for artists?
I'd say the best career advice would be less is more. I always get told that for everything I do. And the reason I say less is more is that, when it comes to being an artist, you're writing music and you're trying to really make it work, especially in this really, really hard time. It's about creating something that's going to connect, not something that you're satisfied with that's over the top, because sometimes it's really too much for people and them understanding, who you are and what you represent, or like your brand that you're working with and what they are about and what they represent. Sometimes it's all about being basic, but also simple and getting to the point. And that's something I've learned really well, considering the amount of essays I do. That would be probably, I don't know, 500 words. They go,
Yeah.
or like, writing, for example, an Instagram post and being, okay, let's make this paragraph to there. So it's all about the little things that matter more, and that's what makes it more interesting when people want to connect with you and your profile, but also your presence. Another thing that I have found that has been the best thing in my creative use is Canva. Absolutely, the amount of curating I do on Canva for all my photos and my Instagram stories is absolutely incredible. But also, using what's the one I like for me, Hootsuite. Hootsuite has been really, really good, as well as Crowdfire as well. And, accessing algorithms on TikTok. So like really understanding you know, who's connecting, who's interested, you know, why is this working, you know, what can you do further to improve? And having that as a backup has been absolutely amazing, you know, for my career, my progression so far as an artist as well. Another thing that I've found really helpful is making sure I research. And that is regards to like trending. So that could be hashtags, that could be what's current, that could be the videos, songs to cover, but also what's current in regards competitions that you can enter as well. So if you're looking for like a social media competition or like a music competition, a composer competition, there's so much out there, and it's all about finding what's there, so then you can make the most of your skill and, you know, your experience to build on as well. Another thing I found really, really helpful is sharing. Absolutely share the hell out of everything. And it could be what you believe in. It doesn't always have to be, you know, this stereotype that you've placed yourself in, or that you think people will perceive you as. You know, you don't have to be a people liking person. If you want to be, you know, show your views that you feel, you know, connect with people, absolutely. You know, sharing other businesses, that mainly is so, so important, because it gets, you know, more trust. You gain trust, you gain more of an audience. You gain more of an audience, you're getting somewhere. Absolutely. What else can I add? Yeah, honestly, I'd say career advice, just be yourself. Massively be yourself. And work ethic is everything. You know, once you know, if you work so hard and you show that you've proven that, and you show that you've studied what you're doing, but also you respect the people who you're working with or working for, that gets you a whole long way.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I like what you're saying too about the sharing. So people want to see who you are, really, you know.
Yeah.
They want to
Exactly.
get to know you. So
Yeah. And, you know, for example, my friends who are musicians and producers in Melbourne, you know, at the moment, they're, you know, going through such a hard time. But even Sydney, I have so many friends in Sydney who, you know, are just so struggling, and basically Centrelink is their only income. And, you know, they're trying to, you know, do as much as they can with their work and, you know, their music. And so, you know, when they post something like a reel or like on TikTok or share something on Instagram, I always make sure I share it on my story, because one, it's helping them out with their business. Two, it's also sharing, you know, that's my friends, I'm proud of them. You're showing people that you appreciate their work, because, you know, these days you don't really see so many, I guess, creative content, just because it is being so drowned out because of how COVID is, you know, making people feel, and their businesses being lost, and, you know, the financial situation that the industry is in at the moment. So it is so important to, you know, look out for each other and really support each other. And by doing that, sharing content, no matter what kind of business someone is in, is so, so important.
yeah, no, that's really true. And what do you think makes you stand out as a musician in the space? Like what makes you different and attracts people to you?
I'm going to say, firstly, I have to wear I have a glove. Now, this sounds really weird, but I actually have a nerve injury. And
Yeah,
so,
wow.
yeah, I actually can't clap like properly. I have to do a whole good knee slapper.
Yeah, right.
That's due to a work accident I had about, how long ago was that now? That was about 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And because of the permanent injury, I have to wear the glove when I perform. So, you know, I've got a little bit of like a Michael Jackson, Lady Gaga thing happening now. So that's part of my brand. You know, I promote that. And, you know, back in the day, I used to be so embarrassed about it and self-conscious, like, oh my God, people are going to see my ugly glove. But I've come to a point where I've embraced it. And, you know, I've gone, you know, this is me, this is my brand, this is what I represent, and people are loving it, you know. And it's about accepting that part, you know, if there's, you know, a fault or flaw with your brand, and if people are appreciating it like in person, it is so, you know, worth it to share it as well. Another thing that I have in my brand is a quote that I've gone for ever since I was, how old was I? Like 10, is being different makes a difference. And that slogan I actually use as an official ambassador with Autism Queensland. And the reason I'm with Autism Queensland is because I grew up in a neurotypical household, so all my family are on the spectrum. And so having that representation with Autism Queensland, you know, showing Big Different Makes a Difference, you know, really gives an idea for, you know, emerging artists, but also, you know, kids on the spectrum, especially females on the spectrum as well, to really just go for what they want to go for no matter what. And, there's always going to be an avenue for whatever your heart's desire and whatever your passion is. And it's also really helping, kids who, they want to learn more things and they want to really increase their experience and education for what they love doing. And being an ambassador for that, has really, made an improvement on that, and people are supporting that. And another cool thing about that is I actually have tote bags I got to make with Autism Queensland that have my artwork on it for the campaign.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can actually buy them on the Autism Queensland website for $10, and the money does not go to me at all. It goes straight to the campaign Go Blue for Autism, so that it can help those kids in their programs in schools, but also in the community with police officers, because they're doing programs at the moment with police officers. And actually, there's a photo, it'd be my tag photo somewhere, where the Chief Service Officer, Katarina of Queensland, she's holding my bag. After our press conference, I'm like, that's my bag, it's so cool. So that's a really cool way that I put in to, what I believe in is really good to help other people. So yeah, and another thing is with my music, I play piano as well. So playing piano and being a songwriter definitely adds into that. Oh, she's not just playing guitar, she's actually, focusing on that and having that classical crossover, because I'm opera background trained as well. Definitely sets aside a little bit of that, being different makes a difference.
Excellent. And so now, reflecting on your university experience, what have been some of the things that you've learned as part of your degree that have really helped you with what you're doing now?
I'd say understanding website structures and curating and creating. And I'd say that's probably the first semester. The first semester I did that with my beautiful tutor. I learned so much by understanding, how websites work, the editing part, especially because I have CDs for sale at the moment on my website. You can check them out as well for my EP Aquarius. Look at the sunlight. I love that.
It's beautiful.
But yeah, and really understanding, how that part of my business works, because I've gone through a website designer to help with my business create that platform, so then people can see how they can book me, how they can view what collaborators I've worked with, what kind of gigs I do, and who I am. And being able to, sometimes if I need to go edit like a paragraph, if there's a typo, I need to add some more update details, or even check in orders. That has been one of the biggest things that has really, really helped me. But especially understanding more of the side of, the not algorithms, but the analytics as well.
Oh, yeah.
That has been a massive thing. So, when I look at the plan for my target audience, how many people do I want to reach, how much money do I want to spend on promoting a certain photo or a certain video or a certain product, and then seeing how that goes, like for a certain day. Say, for example, I use that for 1 day, use that for 5 days, and really looking at the analytics, day by day, seeing who's it reaching, who's it not reaching, who's going into the website, who's going into my Instagram profile, who's going into my LinkedIn page as well. So having the knowledge now of that has been the best thing I have ever accessed.
Excellent. And so, on the flip side of that, what's some skill or knowledge that you wish you'd gained at university that you've needed that you didn't get?
I feel like I learned so much. That's a really hard one to say. I will say really understanding algorithms better, because, oh my God, they change all the time.
Yeah.
And you never know, because there's always an afternoon trend mainly that you go with. So people usually, they aim to post 2 p.m. to say 9 p.m. So within that 7-hour window. And even when you post in that time, any video you post, you could get, say, 1 view, or then it goes to 100,000 views, or so it goes to like 10,000 views. So the algorithm is so confusing. And trying to understand that, through such a difficult time last year was, insane. And having more of a grasp of slightly on it now has been great. But yeah, it's still difficult. 100%
Yeah,
agree
it's
on.
definitely a moving beast. And I think too, I think when people are on lockdown, there's more people on social media, and then when they're not, they're sort of out living life.
Oh,
So
it's strange.
like really, affect things as well. So
Exactly. And, here in Queensland, we're thankfully not in lockdown, but of course we have, some restrictions still. But, when you look at the other states,
yeah,
Sydney, for example, and Melbourne, is Canberra in lockdown at the moment too?
I don't know.
I don't know. I know they have a few cases, but yeah, even with people being more at home, but even working from home, it changes up so much, and it is so unreliable.
Yeah.
But even if, for example, you post a random video and it could mean nothing, and then all of a sudden it gets like 100,000 views, and you're going, why? And then you post and for example, if I post say a cover of me doing a song, and it only gets one view, I'm like, okay, man, what's going on here? I do not
Rude.
understand this. I know, right? I'm like, this is not okay. I'm leaving. That's it.
And so because you're using social media so much, what's something that you've learned or discovered in the last couple of weeks? Because as you said, it's always changing, but what's something that you could share that you found really interesting over the last couple of weeks?
What I would say I found very, very interesting would be that getting into live streams has been definitely a key too, especially for a lot of musicians at the moment. One artist that I have been following so far and liking, she's incredible. You probably all know her, everyone. G Flip. So she's based in Melbourne at the moment. She's currently in lockdown, so of course, she's unable to perform. But the way she's making the most of it is she's doing live streams on TikTok. She's doing live streams on Twitch. She's doing lives on Instagram. And she's really making the most with her music. And I mean that, getting her studio set up and, going through the process of how she makes music, being a drummer and a producer and a singer as well. And, trying to collaborate with as many people as she can. I think having that access by using what you have in such a small environment for what you're contained in is absolutely incredible. The world's your oyster at that point if you've got, internet and you've got social media. And so I've been watching her over time, and, learning from that has been really insightful for me, because therefore I can implement that into what I'm doing. If I get a gig cancellation, for example, in a weekend's time, therefore I am able to go, okay, well, I've cancelled that. I can still set that up, and I can, do my own gig and have more people still listen to me no matter where they are. So, makes it easier for everyone. But yeah, I think that's probably been the best thing to undertake, is learning more about live streams, which have been really, really helpful, but also so great for the music industry right now and the position that it's in.
Yeah, and I mean, the beauty of live streaming is that, yes, like everyone's notified when you do it, you do it, so all your followers are notified. There's platforms like what we're using now, which is StreamYard, so we're going across LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. And it stays on your profile, so you can then download the video and edit it up into other things as well. So it's
cool.
like you can repurpose the content. So it's just a really valuable medium to use. So I mean, with this too, like I'm transcribing this interview, not right this second, but I will. And then I'm actually using this for research. So this is part of a research study. So I'm going to do a big analysis on all the when I get to 100 interviews, and then really analyze what all the guests have said around the questions. So so it's just so many things you can do with it. It's really versatile.
So many. And that's what's really great, especially with the youth and nowadays and students currently studying, social media or marketing or even creative industries, is that there's so much developing at the moment within social media and its realm, that it is so exciting, for what's to come, because we're in such a new world of what's happening at the moment in regards to COVID and adjusting, and people are always finding a new way to represent themselves and their brands, or other people's brands, work out different strategies and that development, and it's just getting insane. And I'm so excited for what's to come in the future with it, because it's just really
cool. That's what I love it. I mean, I've got a very short attention span, so social media is the right place for me to be.
Right, me too.
And so tell me, what advice do you have for emerging professionals, so who maybe still be studying at university or who have just entered their professional field, about how to succeed in their careers?
I'd honestly say work as hard as you can and believe in yourself, because you having self-belief will get you very, very far. And, you know, being different makes a difference. So you need to believe in who you are and your work and what you believe you can bring that will make a difference. And having that thought process, you know, while I was working professionally when I first started university, has gotten me so far. Like, for example, I'm at the point now where I've successfully distributed a EP on Spotify and on iTunes and Google Play, and now it's all, you know, for people to hear. And I did that all through COVID as well. And, you know, the strategies I learned through that, you know, the marketing plan for that, and how was I going to promote it on social media? How was I going to get people, you know, to listen to my music? And, you know, going through that process of learning on the way whilst I was actually, you know, doing my own professional work from home has been the best thing ever to have done. And it, you know, it goes in the revolutionary history books. You know, I released an EP during lockdown, right? It's insane. Yeah. and a single as well, which you can listen to. It's called Control, which is my latest single I released in December. And another thing to add is, you know, always have a backup. And I mean that in regards to always have a backup of if you're unable to do one part of your work, always see if you can do something else that still implements what you want to do, but interpret it in another skill set that you have by collaborating with someone else or working on another project. So always make sure that, you know, you always have something in interest of mind, project-wise, or a skill that you're working on. Definitely work on so many skills. If you can work, you know, if you're like, oh, I can't do that, it's so important to learn something new in the industry, because you never know. You might be able to implement it in, you know, an assignment that you're doing, or a performance that you're doing, or with a brand that you're working with. You know, they might have a specific thing that they're going for, and somehow you've got this skill and you understand it, like, oh my god, that's amazing. But yeah, so definitely I'd say if you're passionate about something and you're willing to work hard, absolutely just go for gold, especially in a time like this. You just got to go for gold and do it. And another thing I will say as well, just to plug in, you know, I've gotten that far because of how much, you know, I've stuck to my guns of working hard whilst I've been studying and whilst I've been working as well, whilst I've had gigs lost. I'm going to be doing a single launch coming up in October, which you can actually find all the details out soon on my Instagram page and on my Facebook page as well, and on TikTok as well. If you're following me on TikTok, you probably will after this video. Follow me on TikTok. And I'll be doing a single launch for my new single, Ghost. And I'll also be releasing some merch, which has been very exciting as well. So if you want to check out more of that, you can follow me on social media, wherever your heart desire.
Excellent. Yeah, that's great. All great advice. And the most important question of the whole show is, who do you like, share, and follow?
Oh, G-Flip, as I said before, absolutely. Yeah. Who else do I definitely love watching. Who was the name? Sorry, I'm just gonna be that person that has to look up.
That's okay.
Actually, she's a good friend of mine, and she actually produced my recent single. Her name's the letter L. She's based in Melbourne at the moment too, in lockdown. At the moment, she's doing a challenge every day where she writes a song every day, and she records it and she puts it on her social media, both on TikTok and in her reels and on Instagram.
Wow.
Which I think is really, really cool. And by doing that, you know, while she's in lockdown for God knows, you know, how long Melbourne's going to be in this situation for, is she's still, you know, working on her craft. She's still working on her skill, and she's still going, yep, if I'm going to be able to do something, I may as well make the most of my skills and, you know, what I'm passionate about. So that's what she does, and she's also really, really cool as well.
Right. So maybe you could actually tag them, their accounts in the comments of this,
sure.
so other people can follow too.
I'll go there. I'll be at the letter L.
Yeah. So maybe we'll do it after we finish. And finally, do you have any final words? Like, I remember you saying that for those on the Sunshine Coast, that you have a gig coming up in Noosa.
I do. So this Saturday, I have been very fortunate to be given an opportunity to perform at our gig at Zachary's in Hastings Street in Noosa Heads. I'll be there from 7:30 to about 10:30ish. So if you do want to pop on down for some amazing pizza and a drink and some good live music, definitely check it out because you never know when you're going to hear some live music again. So definitely come around. Saturday. What's the date of Saturday? 28. Is that the date? Is that the date of Saturday? I think it is. Yes, it is. The 28th.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Okay.
I got that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, good. Well, thank you so much for being my 60th guest. And Ahmed said that he's wishing us all the best. So that thanks.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so
sweet. Thank you. And so next week, and for episode 61, I have Ashley Levens, who is a project manager at Dash of Milk agency on the Sunshine Coast. So thank you so much, Emma, and good luck with all your musical endeavours. I know you'll keep increasing with your success. So
thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'll see everyone next week. Thanks. See ya.